Many times I actually get custom made hill parts, or even I actually salvage some other sword part and I kind of make swords of my own. And I do prefer it that way just because I get to make the sword exactly like how I wanted to. For my previous video, I was looking into a Deltin made hill components, and of course people do ask, what exactly do I do with these? Like when you get them, they're not perfectly fitted to any sparring blades. Let's look at a couple of things you can do with them, okay? So when you buy any swords, find the blades first. Find the blade that works for you, so then you build onto that. If you start messing with your handguard before you find the blade that you like, you're not having a good time, because after you do all that work and you realize the handling sucks, well, you just wasted a whole guard potentially, or even you wasted a lot of money and time, and it's just not really cool. And swords are expensive. So what I start off with is that I always start off with one of these small feather blade by Castillo for my fencing needs. Just because they're very, very easy to get. They weigh about 400 grams for a blade of 36-inch sparring blade, perfect for what we use. Ideally, I would like to get an armor class Manitoba blade, but they're very hard to come by, and they take a whole year to make, whereas this guy take about, well, maybe 4 or 5 months to make, or even less. I got this one within like 2 months, really fast. So thank you, Castillo, for making such an amazing product. So if you can get your hands on a small feather blade by Castillo, do it. I'm not sponsored by this, I just really like their stuff. But if you can get a Manitoba blade from Armor Class, even better. They're both excellent choice. But very, very importantly, get one with a really, really long tang. My tang, this one comes to a good 6-inch length, and that is going to be about a 2-inch of threaded, and then the rest is going to be tang. I purposely ordered them at M10 coarse thread. So M10 really stands for the width of these little teeth. From the end of the teeth, they are 10 millimeter, which is 1 centimeter. Coarse thread, now there's 3 different coarse or threads. How we count a thread is that as a coarse thread, it means that from the top of one teeth to the top of another teeth, they are 1.5 millimeter in width. These are called coarse. There's fine, that goes down to 1 millimeter, and then there's 1.25 millimeter, and then there's 1.5 millimeter. For HEMA use, mostly 1.5, remember, okay? So why do I get M10? It's because thicker the tang, harder to break, easy enough. When you are gonna get any guard, usually, if you get one that is already screwed on, example, if you were to get a very common guard like these one, a little pommel, and they have little screw thread into them, that would be great. They often come with M6. You can convert them into M8 by using a die tool. Now these guys make bigger holes, okay? So you do need one of these. You can get one of these in Canadian Tower for like 10 bucks, it's pretty easy. I bought mine for about 20 bucks because of the whole set. Actually, it was on sale Christmas, so it's great. Okay, so if what happens, you do not have a thread already made in your pommel, you have to make your own thread. Most of these are really big because most tang in medieval swords, they are meant to be, well, rather quite thick, and they're not ragtang, they're really, really thick stuff. So the biggest one that you can pretty much go is an M10. If it goes any bigger than that, you kind of have to peen your blade instead, which gets a little bit annoying, and I'll go in that in another video. So and here what we did is that I actually have an unpeened version, sorry, unthreaded version, and it turned into a threaded version. And then of course these guys, it turns quite well. Now I'm not done threading this, so let me quickly show you how it's being done. Okay, so I have a vise here. We always want to make sure that we have a piece of leather so you do not damage your product, okay? If you do climb out and damage it, well, I guess you can fix it eventually. Always spray down product. I just use WD-40, it works just fine, okay? Spray down your thread. And you go in 10. Now, if you realize that your thread is not making thread, it's because your thread, the world thread maker, is actually dull. If it is, stop, do not keep using it. You can make a bigger hole and it's terrible. Get a new one or sharpen it. I don't know how to sharpen it, so I just buy a new one. It's easier, it's 10 bucks. So get a new one and just go on it, okay? And once you get to your desired length, you can just retract it. Every time you go down, if you feel a little tension, go back up a little bit and then go back down. Do not just go crank all the way down, okay? You have to come back up a little bit to relieve some tensions, relieve some material before you continue, okay? Interesting. I actually broke something. Cool, so that's what's inside. So apparently inside one of these is just a little hole mechanism. Oh my god, oh, I dropped a pin. And then there's two little pincer nuts. So these little pincer nut goes on a little staple. That acts kind of like a spring. It goes in like that. The reason I'm showing this because I just broke mine. So first I'm fixing it. And then you put the little cap back on, screw it in. Now, if you screw it in, these guys, they tighten. That's how you see the little thing inside. It tighten, and so that's how it holds down your die. And when you get one of these, make sure you wipe it down because there's a lot of like metal filing. You do not want any of that in your hand. Don't blow it towards your wine, my man. Okay, I'm gonna do a fit test to see how it fits. Ideally, now how deep are you supposed to go? Yes, you could technically hold it with like 2 teeth and 2 thread, but you want to go as deep as you can. You want to do it so much that you cannot even pommel throw someone because you're literally screwing on for days. The more teeth you have, the better, because it has more connection between the blade and the pommel, so that it actually lasts a little bit longer and it doesn't unravel that long. So mine goes in about that deep, so which is good because my handle length, I'm trying to copy this handle so it goes in about there. I think it worked just fine. I wish I can go a little bit deeper, but I think that's okay. I guess I could make it deeper. Okay, so let me take everything back out. So that's a really good fit. Okay, now you want to make sure that you don't you pull it, it doesn't come off. You want to make sure that you get really good twisting. Sometimes if you feel a little bit of a tension, that's even better. It means that you have really sharp teeth. Or maybe your teeth is on the line. I don't know which one it is. Not okay, so now mine works perfectly fine. So, handguard wise, handguards come in many different forms and sizes and whatever you need. But the most importantly is that if you get a handguard, if you're using for just regular use, I guess it doesn't really matter. You can get anything you want as long as it has a slot into it. But if you're using for HEMA use, make sure that whatever you're using will fit your HEMA glove or sparring glove or safety glove, whatever you want to call it. If you can fit a finger into it, great, whatever. So, next is I'm going to talk about these little hole right here. Many of these holes, they do start off a little bit bigger on one side. As you can see, the slot actually goes in a little bit first, and then it narrows, and then it goes to the other side. So then the back side is actually much more narrow because it's to receive the shoulder of the blade. The shoulder of the blade is right here. Okay, so a part of the blade, a part of the hilt actually sits about right here. Some of it covers a bit on the base of the blade, some of it covers the shoulder, and then your tang is exposed. So, and with Delta crossguard, most of them, they do fit pretty well in one of these small feather blade because I did it a few times. And of course, it just goes right in, very easy. There's some loosening, it's okay. When you tighten it, put some leather washer, you'll be fine. But as long as it fits in there, if you can get a really good tight fit, amazing. Good job for you. If you can't, good enough. It's fine. It's not going to break apart. And of course, as long as you make sure that this tank doesn't slide right off, because if the hole is too big, there's a chance that it will just go right down. And even if it's bigger than the shoulder, you're kind of screwed. So the good thing about these armor class as well as Castile blade is that they have a really big base right here to receive any hilt. If vice versa, if your hole is not big enough, well, you better get filing, and you're gonna take many hours of filing. But it's fun work. So, in any case, next, I got my buddy to help me 3D print a couple of handle, but when I 3D print them, they are a hole. So, as I mentioned, now I'm gonna get filing. Crap. Such as life, we're playing swords, it's all fun, okay? Okay. So close. So, usually during this time, people would try to bang the crap off it until it goes in, but oftentimes you actually break your pommel. It's not a good idea. So when you see that, don't rush, keep following. You could actually heat up your tank so then you actually get a really good pressure fit into it and melt the material inside. I don't really like to heat up my tank because I don't know what's going to do to the metal. So keep following on. So when you get around this stage, it's always a good idea to put a bit of leather washer here first and a little bit of washer in the back. When you're very close, you could actually kind of try jamming it with a pommel if you're lucky. So I'm going to put a washer in there first, okay? Handles up. random washer that I have lying around because I have a lot of these. Put that in. And those back in. And then another random washer I have lying around because I have so many of these. So what exactly does the handle, the washer do is that the washer actually has some compression to it because it's leather, right? The fresher it is, the better. So what happens is that if your pommel goes in, and if there's some rattling happening, the material of the washer itself actually kind of pushes back out, so it locks the tang in, so then it doesn't slide around that easily. So I'm gonna take my threaded pommel and now see how it goes. It's amazing how we're starting to see the beginning of the new size sword. When I was filming the other video, the camera died halfway and the storage died, so nothing was really going wrong. What happened in the last video is that I was trying to tighten up the pommel and everything fit just fine. If you would notice that the pommel actually are able to fit in without much pressure, and you're maybe about a good 1 centimeter or maybe even less, the less the better, you could actually use the pommel tightening method. The issue is that if you are making a traditional handle, this one's a 3D printed handle that I just had lying around, so I retrofit it. If you have a traditionally made pommel, I wouldn't really recommend tightening it because what happens is it can actually split in between. Well, so this is how you put a sword together if you have spare hilt part and a really good blade lying around. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask me as many questions as you like. I love doing these things. Aside from just being a student of Highland Sword Fighting Guild, I actually quite pride myself as being the sword slipper. What a sword slipper is just a guy who put a bunch of parts together into a really cool sword. Ultimately, you will need to be a sword slipper in your life if you are a sword enthusiast, especially if you're going to be fighting with them. Sword breaks, they're tools, they're expected to break. And if you have a broken blade, you don't just throw it out. You salvage whatever part that you have and then you give it a new life. So, if you want to have your own custom weapon, it's always good to learn how to put swords together. It's a lot of fun. When is the next time that you're going to do a DIY project that involves around a real historical weapon? Pretty cool, eh? If you guys have any questions, feel free to let me know. Put it in the comment down below, message me on Instagram, message me on Facebook. I'm sure I'm quite easy to find. Alrighty, thank you so much again for watching another video of one of mine to, kind of do what I love to do as my passion project. Kinglis here from the Wampon's Armory, here to talk about how do you slip a sword together and what exactly are sword slipping. Thank you again for watching this video and I hope to hear you guys from you real soon. See ya!